I was having a conversation with a nerd hobby buddy of mine, and we were talking about how to do different maneuvers. Something that we talked about, he said out loud to me, he's like, you know, this might be kind of something good you want to talk about on your show. I've never thought of myself as an expert pilot or anything like that, but I do fly a lot, and I have flown with a lot of newbies. So it kind of struck a chord, and I thought maybe you're right. Maybe there is something to this. So let's talk about some of the basic drills that I kind of do with folks that are starting out in the hobby. I have lots of friends that get into this stuff. They ask me to help them out, and I try to give them some pointers so they have a good hobby experience. It's real important for people to stick into this hobby, to learn how to solder and to have some dedication to this, is that they have some fun while they do it. Tiny whoop is a great way to start, and I've got plenty of people that have started out with tiny whoops and then moved on to building their own copter. So here's a couple simple drills that you can do that will help you kind of transition forward and will carry over into your acro training as well. So tiny whoops usually come set up for self-level. The Inductrix FPV or any of them, they're set up in a self-level mode, and a lot of people get stuck in that. So I'll say this, that as soon as you move away from a tiny whoop, you should start working on acro. I'm not sure that a lot of the skills that you'll learn doing acro and tiny whoop are going to carry over into 5-inch builds, but the auto level stuff certainly does, and it'll get you some basics. So here's a few things that I like to do. And it comes down to gates. You got to have something to fly around. So doing donuts in the sky doesn't do you any good. So what I like to start out with is some simple gate markers, either cones or whatever on the floor. Pick a couple chairs, and you basically work on doing ovals around the gates. And what it does is it allows you to, let's say this is your turn, focus on what throttle modulations that you have to do. So you're going to come into the gate, you're going to turn, and what normally happens is you start to dip down. So what constantly going around this gate lets you do is learn how to modulate the throttle as you go into the corner and pick up on those facts that as you do anything with the copter on input, you have to apply throttle, and it gets you used to how much throttle you need to apply. And in some situations, the best thing to do is as you approach a corner, you're going to run out of throttle, so to speak. You can't bank and give it all the throttle because you already have, or you're about to. So you slow down momentarily. You just lower the throttle right before you get to the corner, and as you approach and do your maneuver, you'll start to apply the throttle again. And you see that I'm moving the copter in a weird way, and some of that comes from the fact that you're never doing 2 inputs or 3 inputs. You should be doing all 4 inputs almost at the same time. You're going to be leaning forward, you're going to be leaning in, and you're going to be rotating the copter at the same time. So that being said, it's a lot of things to keep track of in your mind, and doing these drills really kind of brings that home, and it makes your mind see the picture, and it makes your thumbs or your fingers, however you fly, learn what you need to do without you thinking about it as much. So the big thing is drills, and that is running simple courses, oval courses, figure eights, and watching your height as you come around the corners. If you can focus a lot on how high you stay and how close you can get to the object that you're turning on, that's a great thing. You're going to learn a lot real quick. Other topic is I like to spotlight and kind of screw around a little bit with my flying, but paying attention to what I'm doing. Do drills where you do rotations or spotlighting something, where you're constantly doing circles, and pay attention to your height. Try to do those faster and slower so that your fingers really start to learn the drills on all that. And if you can do a couple simple drills like that, running a simple figure eight course, doing a couple spirals like that, you'll be amazed at how quickly you're going to pick up the skill sets to run a course and fly with precision, if you will, because you've learned these things kind of screwing around. It doesn't take long, so you don't have to dedicate a lot of time to these boring drills, but you should do at least a pack or 2 here and there every day if you can, of just doing drills, and that'll kind of pick things up quite a bit real rapidly. So some flying pointers from a non-pro pilot that has gotten a lot of people into the hobby, and they tell me that it's good advice. So there it is. Have fun with it.